Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be carrying on our horror series, and our horror series episode for today is stamina. Last episode we added sprinting over in the third person character blueprint, and we just basically set some simple values up to change when we are sprinting or not. But let's not waste any more time, let's get straight into it. So firstly, this may seem a bit weird because I've told you how to do something in one episode and now we're changing it. But last episode, it was just to simply set up the sprinting. Now, if you're not having any stamina, this is fine. This will work perfectly fine. You don't need to really worry. But we're going to change this up. So we're going to add functions. Functions is a way just to have some blocks of code in a separate part of the blueprint, but still in the same one. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to click on add new function, and we're going to name this one start sprinting. And we're going to name this one stop sprinting. So just make two and just make it start and stop. That's all we're going to do. And then we're going to go back into our event graph and we're going to copy and paste the start, like the setting it to 500, so when we are sprinting, and we're just going to do that and put that into there, and the same exact thing for stop sprinting, just like so. Now if you accidentally close these, you can double click these to open them back up, so do not worry if you do that. Now we can just delete these. So now on started, we're going to call this function just like so. And on completed, we're going to call the stop sprinting just like so. And we're going to close that up. And just like that, we now have them in function. So it's a bit more clean. Now we're actually going to make a new variable. This is the first variable of the series, but don't worry, we'll be making a lot more in the future. So there's many different types, but what we're going to make is we're going to make the first one being a ball. So we're going to make is sprinting question mark, and then we'll get this drop down and we'll go to Boolean, which is a true or false statement. Now head over back into your start and stop sprinting, just like here. Go into your start, drag off of here, go on to set, and just make it so it's ticked. And then do the same exact thing for stop sprinting, but as you guessed, just leave it unchecked. So let's now head into the event graph again. So now we have it, so we're starting to sprint and we're having functions for it, just like here, and it's then setting the Boolean. So now we actually need a way to drain the stamina. So let's add a custom event. Custom events are just like any of these other ones. These are all events, and so event begin play, but a custom event is, well, customized. You can make it yourself and you can have your own code and you can choose when it runs. So for example, we're going to create a new one and call it drain stamina. Now we actually need some values to determine what our stamina is. So we need our stamina value, just like so, and we're going to go into it and set it as an integer, and then we're going to make another one and we're going to call it max stamina. The reason we're doing this is because we don't want it to be we don't want it to be infinite, right? Because then what's the point in a stamina system if you can sprint forever? And then, as you saw, I just set these values. If you compile and save and click on each one, you can then set the value down here. And then I'm setting mine to 50, so our character will have 50 stamina. It'll make more sense when you get into it, but let's just carry it on forward. If you get stuck at any time, you can always go back or drop a comment down below if you are confused. Now, let's drag the get stamina. So we're going to drag it in and just click get stamina. Then we're going to drag off and just search add. So add, just like in maths, well, it's exactly like in maths. And basically, oh, sorry, no, sorry. You want to drag off and go subtract because we're draining the stamina. We want to like lose stamina. So we'll just set this as 1 for now. We can always change this later. And then drag off of here and just search clamp. Now, if you're wondering what a clamp does, basically, just like in woodwork, you get 2 bits of wood, for example, and you can clamp them together to keep them in place. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to be clamping the stamina values. So the minimum will be 0 because that's all we really need. And then the max, you'll just drag the max value into the max pin. And then after return value, search set stamina. Now what we're doing is we're calculating the new stamina and then setting the stamina. And this will stay the same the whole time. Now once you've done that, drag off of this green little pin and just search equal. You can search with the equal key. I'm not going to do that as that is my hotkey to end the recording and I do not want to do that. So drag in the max stamina again and just, sorry, no, that's for later. I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry. So once you've done that, drag off of set and then just search branch. A branch is just a way to basically do functions or call new code depending on a statement. So it's an if statement. This is a if statement, if you know that from different code or different languages. And then off true, what we're going to do is we're going to stop sprinting, because if stamina equals 0, you have no stamina, you're out of breath. So if the stamina equals 0, then we're going to stop sprinting. But if it does not, right, we're going to get a branch. And what we're going to do is we're going to check, are we sprinting? So just search is sprinting question mark or is sprinting and just put this in here. You can also drag it into here like this, just like that, and create it like so. You can do it however you like. Don't worry, it will work either way. Now, we need to determine how long we want this to tick, because if it was every tick, that would be very, very quick. We don't actually want that, so we're going to use a different node. This node is called delay, and the delay node, basically, you can do things after a certain amount of seconds. So for us, we're going to leave it at 0.2. We can always change this later, do not worry. And if you want to change it and have it a variable, you can right click and click promote to variable, and it will come down here and you can set it just like the ones we did earlier. Now I'm going to delete that because I'm not going to do that. And then we're going to go into completed. We're just going to recall this exact same custom event. We're just going to call that back. So then basically it's one big loop. It just keeps repeating, and then it'll only ever stop repeating if one of these if statements change. Now we need a way to regain the stamina, because if you run out of stamina, you're not going to be tired forever. So let's do the same thing. We can actually do a bit of a shortcut here. If you drag all of these, click copy, so Control C, and then drag these back and Control V, you now have this, but it's the exact same code. Why would we do that? Well, if we now type in regenerate stamina, so we're just renaming this, by the way, if you couldn't see what I was doing, we're just renaming this to a different event. Now we're going to want to do a few different things. So firstly, we're not going to be subtracting, we're going to be adding, as I almost did earlier. We're going to be adding and just plug these into the value and get the stamina. Now we're going to be adding by 2. That's what I'm going to set it to, because I think any other is a bit too high. And then you want to carry on over here and then drag the max stamina into here. So what we're doing is if the stamina equals 50, then we can stop. We don't need to do anything else because we're at 50. We can stop regaining. And now off this branch here, so when we check if we are sprinting, if we're not sprinting. So we don't want to regain when we are, we want to regain when we stop. Okay, and we're just going to set this to 0.1 just so it's a bit quicker than draining it. And then you can delete this, cool, and then go off completed again and just search regenerate. I've completely spelt regenerate. That's embarrassing. Someone's going to point that out if I can already hear all the keyboards typing away at me when I hovered over it earlier. I'm going to leave it for now. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So my mind was playing tricks on me and I forgot how to spell regenerate. So leave me alone. It was an accident. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm just putting regen just so I can. Now we have this, but this isn't actually going to work because we're not actually originally calling this function. We need a way to do so. So we're going to go back into here. I can't remember if I did say earlier that we will be coming back to this, but this is why I've left them open, because we are coming back to it. So if you did close them, don't worry, just double click. Look, I'll close these now, and then we can just double click, and then both of them will open up. Now what we want to do is, the great thing about functions is, like I said earlier, is you can call any other part of the script in here. So on start sprinting, we're going to actually call drain stamina, just like so. And then in stop sprinting, we're going to call the regen stamina, or regenerate if you are smarter than me and can actually spell that word. Now that is basically everything set up. We don't actually need to do anything else. If we go into the game, we sprint. We may need to sprint for a while because we don't actually have a way to tell what it actually is. So after a while, just like that, we stop sprinting, and then we can start sprinting again. But we need a way to tell what the stamina is at, because you kind of need some input for the player to know if they are about to run out of stamina or not. The best way is a HUD widget, but I actually have a video planned where we're going to make it a bit nicer. So instead of making a default one that will change later, we're actually going to be using something called a print string. So we can actually chuck this here at the end of each one, just type print string, and then you may be like, but that's just saying hello. Well, what you can do is you can actually drag stamina into here, and it will create this. This converts the integer into a text node, and we can do the exact same thing. So copy and paste down here, and then drag this into here, compile and save, and then we go in, and look, now we have it in the top left where it's telling us how much stamina we actually have. So guys, if you did enjoy this video and you are liking this series so far, make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to support me any further and have these files on your own document, if you just want to add them into your own game, then a link in the description will be to my Patreon, where I will be posting all of these files, and you will be able to download them and put them in your own game. But guys, without further ado, hopefully the next episode's out by the time you're watching this. It might not be, I'm not 100% sure. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.